Jason Tracy, Chief Executive Officer of Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester. I used to live in Penfield. I no longer live in Penfield because my landlord, 80-year-old Antino Spano, locked the door and locked me out. And I slept at Harris Whalen Park in Penfield for 3 weeks. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jason Tracy? Representative payee. It's not representative payee, but we will refuse to pay your rent if you're an innocent man in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. And we're not going to tell you that we didn't pay your rent. Do you know what I'm talking about? You should. I say I'm in jail. I have never committed a crime, and I've been in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutor San Dorothy's attorney's office has not talked in court, which I have now informed the Department of Justice now repeatedly more than 10 times in the person of Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney for Western District of New York, who's in Buffalo. So, Jason Tracy, I have been in contact with you. Do you know my likeness? Because I have been in contact with you. Do you know my name? You should. Representative payee pays the rent. Are there exceptions to paying the rent? How do I go from me paying the rent to Anthony DiGiulio, your coworker or subordinate, saying he needs to pay the rent, then to Teresa Sassatani paying the rent? Who the hell is Teresa Sassatani, if I have that name right? And then when I met with Social Security, they said I could be my own payee. This is the 1984 that I made. So right here it says, YouTube, rented Jason Tracy, Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester, April 7th. So today is May 8th at 4:20 p.m. So this is a month ago. I don't hear anything from you. Here's my address. Chris Rochester, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604, senior office. I'm going to send this to you, registered mail return receipt. I'm going to take this link while I'm talking to you now, 2 minutes. I'm going to attach it to this along with other documentation I'm going to read to you. So, Jason, why didn't you pay the rent? I believe you will refuse to answer. I'm in the process of attempting to figure out or determine who your regulators are in Albany, New York, and Washington, D.C. I don't know if it's the Department of Health, it's the Department of State in Albany, Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C. But I'll find out. I'll send your regulators this YouTube. I own nothing. I have nothing because the rent wasn't paid. Representative payee. Do you know the name Antonino Spano? How do you know I'm in jail? Did Antonino Spano, my landlord, call you and say, where's the rent? Pay the rent for the citizen Christopher Chichester. I'm going to write this down for you too, but I've said this to you. April 7th. Here are the emails. A. DiGiulio, CCS, Rochester.org. J. Tracy, CCS, Rochester.org. M. Glover, I think it's Monica Glover, Jennifer Hunley, R. Ruiz, P. Hart, K. Randall. I think this is you. Now, I'm going to send this to you. Will you sign for a registered mail return receipt so you know you have it? Because I don't know if I can reach somebody on YouTube, and I believe I have your correct email address, but I could be incorrect about that. So I'm going to send this to you and sign for it. I'm going to send it to your coworkers here too. Just be a regular mail, and they can see this. So this says April 7th. Jason Tracy, Chief Executive Officer, Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Rochester, 1050 University Avenue, Suite A, Rochester, New York, 14604. Tell me why you didn't pay the rent at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, New York. Contact me at the address below, my name. And I don't hear a goddamn thing from you. YouTube, rented Jason Tracy, Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Rochester, New York. TikTok, answers at Jason Tracy of CCS. TikTok, answers at Jason Tracy. TikTok, for Jason Tracy of CCS. So there's 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times I contacted you demanding answers. I'm not asking you. When something's in the form of a question, you better answer me. And the question you better answer is, why didn't you pay the rent? I'm going to tell you what an answer isn't. It isn't you're in jail, because my follow-up question would be, and your answer to this is going to be, I don't know. How do you know I'm in jail? Do you understand why this is the lunatic fringe? I think you don't. So, also on this link here, I have refusal, corruption, and ludicrous. Come on YouTube about Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, and Alex Renzi in the New York State Supreme Court, where I have been as an innocent man, as I've never committed a crime. So you have this. I'm going to send this to you in this packet. This packet here is at the Department of Justice in the person of Trinity Ross and in the office of Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, because this packet here, where has my name up here, this is on April 14th. This packet here, April 14th, when I'm talking to these psychopaths, sociopaths, the sheriff's office, and district attorney's office, is here, where I have these links here called affliction, disorder, and sexual harassment. It's called sexual harassment here. I'm sending it to you. So I'm demanding to know if the sheriff's office and district attorney's office is in compliance with state and federal law. So in this packet that's in the office of the United States Attorney, where they can see your name, I have that first one. The second one here is called disordered, because that's exactly what they are at the sheriff's office, and so are you. Disordered. Why don't you pay the rent? It's not that I'm in jail. And then my question is, as I've already said, is how do you know I'm in jail? Sexual harassment or refusing to tell me if they're in compliance with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which governs sexual harassment. And I have this long letter to Alex Calabrese of the Lollipop Farm Humane Society, where, as I call them, Psychopaths Incorporated, at the sheriff's office, showed up one day to demand my dog that I've walked for 7 years and 4,000 times. So that's attached. And this one here is called Degenerates, because this bald-headed Benito Mussolini clone, Todd Baxter's degenerate, because this district attorney doesn't know if she's a Democrat or Republican, Sandra Dorley's degenerate, and this Judge Alex Renzi in the New York State Supreme Court's degenerate. I was just there in the New York State Supreme Court, and I used the most ferocious language possible in front of these judges, declaring my innocence. Is guilty and not guilty? I'm neither. I'm innocent. I've been an innocent man my whole life, so here you are right here, Jason Tracy. This packet is in the Department of Justice, also in the Sheriff's Office, the Attorney's Office. YouTube rented Jason Tracy Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Rochester, New York, April 7th, a month ago. Tell me why I didn't pay the rent 26 cents when I'm driving contact the address below my name. I'll repeat myself on certain things. Because of my experience with either corruption or unethical behavior, I have to repeat myself. So this is the packet that's in the sheriff's office, in the district attorney's office, in the United States Attorney for Western District of New York. And when I find out your regulators, I'm going to send this packet. We'll be able to see me talking to you here and on these links too. Why don't you pay the rent? It is the insane, lunatic fringe that I don't know I'm locked out. I do not know. When I run down Penfield Road, when I'll process the sheriff's office, and I'll get to these concocted criminal charges, I'm running down Penfield Road. I got my key in my hand. I'm thinking I'm going to open up this door, go back to my residence. I've lived there for 7+ years. Get ready to move back to Albany. This nightmare that's befallen me will be over. I put the key in the front door, Jason Tracy. It doesn't work. You know why? Because Anthony Spano's 80-year-old man changed the locks on me without a court order. Just because I don't have a lease doesn't mean he can smash me into a million little pieces. I go around to the back with a sliding glass door that I would just slide open because it's not a high crime area, Penfield, New York, where I live off the Penfield Road. This old man fixed the door where I cannot slide it open. I go underneath the back porch where I have a key with a New York Mets logo that I made at Walmart that I have taped there for emergencies. This old man psychopath locked me out. 80-year-old Anthony Spano removed that key. He's underneath the porch looking for my key to lock me out without a court order. So the front door is locked. Sliding glass door is fixed. He removes the key. This is all being done because apparently the rent wasn't paid, right? That's right. The rent was not paid by you as the representative payee. How do you know I'm in jail? You don't know anything. Did Anthony Spano of Fairport, New York, call you Jason Tracy, or call you Anthony DiGiulio, or call you Monica Glover, or call you Jennifer Hunley, and say, where's the rent? What's the answer? I believe you'll exist in stone cold silence. I contacted you here. And also in this packet that went to the Department of Justice, I would hope that Trinity Ross looks right at this and thinks, why don't they pay the rent for this citizen if they're representative payees? Representative payee. It's not representative payee, except for that Christopher Chichester from Pemberton, New York, who's an innocent man. He's been in jail 6 times when a prosecutor talked in court. Yeah, you heard that right, 6 times. My 50th birthday, July 4, 2015, I got a speeding ticket in my place of employment in Albany, New York, speeding ticket in Washington, D.C. Both of them dismissed and went to court. I just suddenly become a criminal. And the reason why prosecutors never talked in court is a prosecutor can't stand in open court and make an argument that I have committed a crime. And these psychopaths at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office are concocting crimes for me, presenting me in front of a corrupt judge, Paul C. Metzer or John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pemberton Court, Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. And I'm just being ruled guilty. Somebody would ask me in my long employment and long work for the majority of the government, can you go to jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court? I would say that's ludicrous. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous is befalling me. So, in this package refusal here, it says, refusal tied back to Sandra Lance Friends because they're refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. I'm going to show you a photo momentarily of the lunatic fringe. And I'm going to tell you what right you have, Jason and Anthony and Monica and Jennifer, that I don't in Pemberton, New York. I don't know where you live, but if you live in Pemberton, I'm going to show you something that you have the freedom to do that I don't in Pemberton, New York. Corruption and fanaticism, $28,000 Paul C. Messer. This $28,000 widow who has the most hideous wig I have ever seen. Phyllis Diller is a profile in glamour compared to this 70-year-old bald-headed widow in her wig on Penfield Town Court, where she's in there without a jury of 12, without a table for a defense attorney prosecution to sit at. There's not even a witness box for testimony. I've talked to her over and over and over on YouTube. She once had total control of my life, where I'm in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. I cannot be at Monroe County Jail in Rochester because I read the payroll for the sheriff's office, and all these psychopaths know what they're paid because of me, as I'm now at 12 minutes, and I think my Wi-Fi is fairly strong and it should not kick out. If you just see the screen go dark, then I'm just not going to be able to talk to you anymore because the Wi-Fi's out. So this is ludicrous Todd Baxter. Mail that ends is April 5th. This is corruption. I'm telling you this also, too, to tell you you've destroyed my life and that you're corrupt, just like Todd Baxter and Sandra Dorley, because why wasn't the rent paid? Representative payee. To not pay the rent, then refuse to disclose why he didn't pay the rent. Exactly, precisely why. It's not just he's in jail. That's not exactly precisely why. It's why you're corrupt. Did Anthony Nospano ask you 2 questions? I'll repeat myself. Did Anthony Nospano, Fairport, New York, Mile End, call you and say, where's the rent? How did you know I was in jail? Who told you if you did? Who told you I was in jail? Mail it ends April 5th. Mail it ends on prosecutor's silence. The address law, Rochester. Read the 6 attached PDF documents. Was on. I've been demanding this for 18 months. This is just 1 month ago. This is corruption in Monroe County. Your friends and family members, if they ever have to go into these corrupt courts that I've been in, Penfield, New York State Supreme Court, and I get on exchange in Rochester, they'll be ruled guilty. It's that easy. Hypothetically, can be ruled guilty. You can walk into a courtroom thinking I haven't committed a crime, you're innocent. You can walk out, prosecute, and talk court, they are in jail. And I have been the victim. I hate that word victim, but there's no other word around it, of double jeopardy, too. They arrested me twice for the same thing. I've talked about that on YouTube, too, over and over. If you go to YouTube, some of these links, you'll see me talk about double jeopardy for me on Penfield Road. They followed and stalked me on Penfield Road to arrest me again. Silence of Monroe County Public Defender. This is corruption in Monroe County. Julie Sianka is the public defender of Monroe County, appointed by the Monroe County Legislature. I've been demanding from her now for over a year the names of my prosecutors. Have never talked. The public defender of Monroe County, Julie Sianka, supported by the taxpayers, just like every one of these hacks and sociopaths, refuses to tell me the names of my prosecutors of silence. How is any citizen in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court? I don't know how many more of these I'm going to read because I'm going to get their photograph momentarily. Abuse of power, Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, Alex Renzi. This is on April 1. Again, on April 1, I'm telling these hacks and sociopaths, mail names on prosecutor's silence, the address listed below, read the tap PDF, register, documentation resigned. So this is abuse of power, identification is same. The deputy district attorney in Monroe County is Perry Duckles. This is me talking to him and his $113,000 salary. It says YouTube 4, $113,918.94. First assistant attorney Perry Duckles, identify my prosecutor's silence. I've been telling him over and over on YouTube, Deputy District Attorney Perry Douglas, he's the number 2 at the District Attorney's office, to disclose the names of our prosecutors. He's refused every time because he's corrupt. And then here I am again, this other link here, which says, for Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka, identify my prosecutor's house. So the public defender in Monroe County refuses to tell me the names of my prosecutor's house. The Deputy District Attorney in Monroe County, Perry Douglas, the number 2, refuses to disclose the names of our prosecutors of house. That's because I have told these hacks and sociopaths that once I obtain the names, the appellate division of state Supreme Court is where an attorney in the state of New York is disbarred. And I'm going to pursue this relentlessly for every single one of these hacks and sociopaths, prosecutors assigned to my concocted charges, fiction, and lies that are just watching me being delivered to jail and delivering me to jail. When I say watching me, they have been in there without talking as the handcuffs go on as I'm in jail, and that's not one syllable from these hacks and sociopaths. So then on TikTok here, I'm going to send this to you where you sign for it. But you can see me on TikTok. If you go to Eviction and Law Around, you can see me talking in more detail about the doors being locked on me, and I don't know it. Representative payee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but if it's representative payee, except if you're an innocent man in jail, then we're not going to pay the rent. We're not going to tell you we didn't pay the rent, and you're not going to know the rent's going to be paid, and then you're going to stick your key in the door, and it's not going to open because an old man, Anthony on the spot, unlocked the door, and then you, Chris, are going to walk to Harris Wheeler Park and sleep in the park for 3 weeks. Is that the name of your representative pay? Is that the official name? Why was the rent paid? Answer me. Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. That's one way to answer me. Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Contact me. 813-648-4441. My phone number. I'll say it again, my iPhone. 813-648-4441. Call me. So, identification. I cannot find out the names of my prosecutor's house. Well, I own nothing and have nothing. Everything was cleaned out of my residence. My dress greens from 2nd Squadron 17th Cavalry are gone. My 1,000+ books are gone. My bed is gone. My couch is gone. My running shoes are gone. My running jerseys are gone. All my clothes are gone because the rent wasn't paid. I had to buy clothes at the Goodwill. You see me on YouTube here. I'm holding up the receipts from the Goodwill and telling Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, I don't have any clothes because of them. And I don't have any clothes because of you, Jason Tracy. Representative payee. You pay the rent, right? I'll repeat myself. It's not representative payee except for a citizen who's in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court because of a psychopath sheriff and a psychopath district attorney. So, corruption. You have your friends and family members in Monroe County. If they have to be in one of these courts, it is so easy to be delivered to jail without a prosecutor talking to court. That could easily happen to one of your friends and family members, your sons, your daughters, your aunts, your uncles, and mothers, fathers. Just like that. Snap your finger. There you are in jail. So, insane. It's insane to be in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. That's happened to me 6 times. This is on March 28th. I still can't find out. March 28th, over and over and over. It is relentless. What I'm doing to these hacks and sociopaths, the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, and you as a voter. You should know when they come up for re-election not to vote for these 2 freaks. That's what I call them. City of freaks. Rochester, New York is a city of freaks for numerous reasons I'm not going to go into, but I did in this YouTube here. If you go to YouTube, you type the word freaks in my name, you'll see me calling them freaks. This here is just the title of it here in the Gmail, but I have called them freaks over and over and over on YouTube. If you type freaks plus Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, you'll see me talking to Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley, and calling them freaks. City of freaks. I live in Washington, D.C., and Albany. And just a few things I'll say. People aren't asking for money in Washington, D.C. and Albany, like in Rochester, New York. People aren't screaming at each other like they do in Rochester, New York. The antisocial personality I see in Rochester, New York was totally alien to me in Albany, New York, and in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. and Albany are like Earth and Mars compared to Rochester, New York. So, City of Freaks. That's the last one here. So, Jason and Anthony and Monica and Jennifer, you can walk through this parking lot in Pemberton, New York without being arrested. See that? This is where I used to live right here. This is where you didn't pay the rent. That's my residence. I lived there for 7 years. I moved to Penfield from Webster with my then girlfriend, Laura Riley. One from my arrest walk to this park lot, 4,000. This park lot is the destruction of my life. You, Jason, Tracy, you, Anthony DeJulio, you, Jennifer Huntley, you, Monica Glover, could walk through this park lot anytime you want. You won't be arrested. If I left where I am here at the Bryant Memorial Library and walked through this park lot, and the psychopath mother's boy, his name is Nayraj Shah, sees me, or his mother, her name is Layla Kumar Shah, I'll be arrested. Even though I've walked through this park lot 4,000 times. This is how they set me up for criminal contempt, so I'm going to hold this up again. They use the civilians and law enforcement. This is $83,000 Shannon, my sheriff's office. She tells a man named Steve Desmond, why'd you track to buy his residence here? If he comes out of the residence, we're going to arrest him. That's not a crime. Steve Desmond, Brock Colchine, Lawn Care, rides his tractor alongside my residence here. He rides it up on to my front lawn grass. I come outside, I'm standing right here. My right arm is moving. Why do you think I know my right arm is moving? Perhaps I won't talk about that because it's too time consuming. But they're using cameras on me. I tell Desmond nobody owns the land and walk back on my residence. An hour later, I see Shannon, my sheriff's office, run into my backyard, fall down on her face. There were 5 other psychopaths from the sheriff's office. Pounded on my door. I walk outside and say, what's the problem? The handcuffs are her fist. I'm charged with criminal attempt second by then $67,000 cop freak Shannon Meyer, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, just for walking outside, standing right here, telling Steve Desmond of a rack called Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land. Next one, I walk back my reds. This begins the destruction of my life when those handcuffs go on. That's not a crime. So, you can walk through this park line. Have you driven down Penfield Road? I'll guess. If you drive down Penfield Road and you watch me here, look at this parking lot. If you pass it, and perhaps you can think about what I'm saying here. This is why people hate the police. Jason, Monica, and Jennifer, and Anthony. I've never had any hatred for the police. I will hate the police for the rest of my life until I'm 6 feet under. This parking lot destroys me. Where I'm fundamentally changed, I no longer view things like honesty and decency and justice the way I used to. So that's how I'm charged with criminal attempt second, just for telling a man on his tractor and nobody owns the land next to my residence. And 2 weeks later, I go to a gym called PW Fitness. Up walks to me a man named Jermaine Benmo on the bench press. He stands over me, punches down. My head snaps back violently. You know who I just harassed? Jason, Monica, Jennifer, Anthony. I never harassed anybody. That's why people hate the police. $79,000 Andrew Reale arrives from the sheriff's office. He's going to put the screws to me. We go outside. Jermaine L. Beman, who just attacked me, is standing next to me. Reale tells me to wait in the backseat of the vehicle. He walks away with Beman. They return about 2 minutes later, and then Jermaine Lamar Beman says these 7 words to me. I want to press charges against you. As I sat in the back seat of $79,000 Andrew Reale's Monroe County Sheriff's Office, I'm charged with arrest for second. And as I've said to Todd Baxter, Sandra Jordan repeatedly, the insane, ludicrous fiction and lie of the 1984 of Andrew Reale's head of the sheriff's office and charging me with arrest for second, where I'm not harassing anyone. Because there has to be a victim to be charged with harassment second, which is my concoction, or harassment one. So I have to go to Penfield Town Court. I appeared before John P. Lomenzo Jr. You can find out about him with child sexual predator Dan DeLaus III, the Democratic Chronicle. I stand in front of John P. Lomenzo Jr. to answer criminal attempt second, where I haven't committed that crime. To answer harassment second, I haven't committed that crime. I look over to the prosecutor to my left of San Jose District Attorney's Office. Not one word. He just rules me guilty. And then Andrew Reale approaches me with the handcuffs on. Now I know I'm going to Monroe County Jail. And then the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee is behind me. I take a step back. I'm not trying to escape. I can't escape. Now I know I'm going to jail. And the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee pushed me down to the floor in the Star Chamber of Penfield Town Court. And I did something when I was on my knees that I have not done since elementary school. And when I was in elementary school, I did this in happiness. When I'm on my knees in Penfield Town Court, for the first time in 40 plus years, I screamed. I screamed, you're violating my rights. And they drove to Monroe County Jail, and I was in Monroe County Jail for 3 weeks. I kept saying the whole time, I'm an innocent man, and prosecutor didn't talk in court. If I was not relentless by saying, the prosecutor didn't talk in court, what am I doing here? Over and over and over. Every day I had to go to this kiosk, get to jail, telling them, what am I doing here? And this John P. Lomenzo Jr. is keeping me in that jail. And then they released me. But I didn't go home, and I'm not going to talk about that, but I have previously. I'm not going to talk about that because it's humiliation upon me. And I can't just talk about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's 30 minutes for me to talk about where I went for another 2 weeks. And then I went home to Penfield. Do you understand what I'm saying to you here, Jason Tracy? So, Jennifer Huntley, Monica Grover, Anthony Giulio. So this is me contacting Todd Baxter on April 24th. The dates may be a little bit different. Sometimes I have the dates in order from the most recent, but this is me telling them a cancer. I'm trying to erase them because Sandra Dorley had cancer. That's why I use this word. And she uses her health for political reasons to generate sympathy in Monroe County, and that's disgusting and sick and disgraceful. I say comply with detached freedom of information law documents, mail the names of my prosecutor silence, the address below Rochester, New York. I have prosecutors silence for Penfield Court Judge John P. Metzer Jr., Penfield Court Judge Paul C. Metzer, New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi, and they're refusing. This is on April 24th. I'm demanding this for 18 months. So that's called a cancer. And the destruction of my life begins with this Shannon Myers. I call her a cop freak. When this headline here is pay raise freak, acquired the payroll. I don't know what to pay because of me. So this is me about Shannon Myers, February 16th. She wasn't fired. So this freak wasn't fired. So here I have April 24th. This is April 29th. I'm going to start with some most recent ones here so I can work the way I want to work here and explaining to facts and circumstances of the obliteration of my life by psychopaths. I call Todd Baxter and Sandra Dorley Psychopaths Incorporated. So this is called leeches here. If you go to YouTube and you type leeches, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, you see me talking to them, calling them leeches. May 4th, comply with the 11 Freedom of Information Law documents, PDF. Mail it to prosecutor silence, the address below Rochester. Leeches a target. I'm indicted when a grand jury is convened by District Attorney Sandra Dorley and Director of the Grand Jury Michelle Proud when I don't know the grand jury is convened. This is how. That's why people hate the police. They're targeting me at the sheriff's office. I'm being stalked in Penfield, New York. 2 years ago, I leave my residence to go to Wegmans at midnight. And I've been doing that for 7 years. And I would leave my residence at Sam's Farm Drive. I'd walk to Willow Pond Way in Penfield. Willow Pond Way goes to Wegmans on Penfield Road. It goes by this low-income area called Crown Oak Estates. I've been doing this for 7 years. It's ordinary, normal. I like to go there at that time of night because it's quiet and I can get what I need. I walk alongside my residence. Come running at me are $80,000 Don Benedetto of the sheriff's office and $73,000 Michael Hulan of the sheriff's office. At first, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to figure out real soon what this is. I turn around and run away. As I'm running away from these cop freaks, Don Benedetto and Michael Hulan of the sheriff's office, I run back to my sliding glass door that I just exited 30 seconds earlier. And next to my bike is a hammer. I grab the hammer. I take the first of 3 steps to go across my back porch and through the sliding glass door I just exited. They reach me when I get to the back porch. When I put my foot on the first of 3 steps, Michael Hulan of the sheriff's office grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I pull away. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stop running. Do you think I committed a crime? In the delusional, sick, psychotic head of $73,000 Michael Hulan? His answer is yes, and his answer is a lie. And this is why people hate the police. Michael Hulan went back to the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office and lied and said swung a hammer at him. When the body camera shows, I ran the whole time. I'm charged with attempted felony assault by Michael Hulan and Don Benedetto. So I had to go to the public defender's office, and Regina Harper played the body camera footage for me of Michael Hulan and Don Benedetto when I ran away the whole time. And we had a conversation about this where I said to her, the only way I can swing a hammer at this psychopath cop, Michael Hulan, is if I stopped and pivoted and brought the hammer down on him when I'm still. That's why people hate the police. So I was in Livingston County Jail for this concoction, where I prosecuted in talk court. And then I have to skip over a number of things. I'm already at 29 minutes. I hope to end this in the next 10 minutes. I'm in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, New York, where I don't live. I cannot be in Monroe County Jail because of what I did to the sheriff's office and reading their payrolls. And the whole time I've been on YouTube. I'm a security risk in Monroe County Jail. When I out-processed the New York State Supreme Court before this $210,000 70-year-old hack and fossil, Alex Renzi, who's supervising judge in the New York State Supreme Court, he tells me there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. Either it's assault or it's not assault, because it's a landmine of vagueness for anything to be attempted. You, Jason, can attempt to assault Anthony, and then that could be anything. And then you, Jason, could be in jail for that. because it's attempted felony assault, and it's whatever the prosecutor, whatever the judge wants to define attempted as. I ran away the whole time from these psychopath cops. This is why I call them leeches. They're leeches on society. So every single charge for me is a fiction or a lie. Leeches. This is a target of the grand jury. I'm indicted for this. When I don't know the grand jury's convened, her name is Michelle Crowley. She's the director of the grand jury. And I'm demanding from her over and over and over, using the FOIL, how many grand jurors are there? There's 18 to 24. When was the grand jury convened? Is there a transcript to the grand jury? And I have said to her, the one thing I do know that happened, when Michael Huan states in this grand jury that indicts me that I don't know what's convened, that I'm the personal ham sandwich to Sandra Doyle and Michelle Crowley. When Michael Huan says in this grand jury that I swung a hammer, that's when this psychopath cop purges himself, which I've said to Todd Baxter over and over and over. I've used his name, Michael Huan, on YouTube more than once. So it's target. This is what I call cruelty here. Cruelty for a number of reasons. It's cruelty for an assistant district attorney to stand in court, not talk to defenders delivered to jail. That's happened to me 6 times. So again, I'm using the FOIL on them on this April 29th. This April 24th of cancer. Back to these psychopaths. This is here when I said about the grand jury. This is February 12th. This is YouTube misconduct. I'm chief of the grand jury bureau, Michelle Crowley. I don't hear anything from them. So over and over and over, one judge is the destruction of my life. That's why I call this one judge. State legislature in Albany, Assembly, Senate needs to reform this monstrosity called the bench trial. It's not a trial. It's one judge declaring you guilty. So on this February 20th, I'm talking to Todd Baxter, Sandra Doyle about one judge and what has happened to me because of one judge. And this is fanaticism here. I'm not going to go into detail about this. The FOIL they're refusing to answer. Todd Baxter gave my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzer on Pemberton Court. A copy of the private healthcare records delivered to $28,000 Pemberton Court Judge Paul C. Metzer by Sheriff Todd Baxter of Monroe County and vouched for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It's called HIPAA. Passed by my former employers, United States Senate, United States House of Representatives. This Benito Mussolini skinhead, this nauseating, sick, disgusting, vile hack, Todd Baxter, gave my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzer on Pemberton Court. And this is the parking lot that you can walk through all day long, anytime you want during that day, without being arrested. And this is the warrant for my arrest for walking through that parking lot by this cop freak, Shannon Meyer, that has destroyed my life. And you helped destroy my life. Representative Payee. Do you understand what I'm saying to you here? Because I don't think that you do. A piece of paper obliterates me and fundamentally alters how I think about decency and truth and justice. This is it right here. A warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot 4,000 times. Everything on here, I may attach this in PDF. I probably will attach this in PDF. I don't know what to do yet. Depends on my time. So do you understand what I'm saying to you here? Representative Payees, Jason, Anthony, Monica, and Jennifer. I would hope you do. This is unethical. January 18th. These Todd Baxter, Sandra Doyle are unethical. Do you own dogs? Do you own a dog, Jason, Anthony, Monica, and Jennifer? And this is perhaps the last thing, a few last things I'll end with. I adopted my dog, here he is right here, from Lollipop Farm Humane Society, my then girlfriend Laura Riley in 2012. It's one of the best days of my life. You own dogs, you know what every dog owner knows. You love a dog. You're supposed to love your dog. I'm really amused at people that think they deserve praise for loving the dogs. This is ordinary normal. So, 7 years ago, went to Lollipop. One of the questions we were asked in 2012, Laura and I, you ever been arrested? The answer is no. For the answer is yes, you can't adopt a dog. 7 years and 4,000 times. One day, the back window from his shack at 2033 Pamphlet Road called the Shaw Law Firm. This is Nayraj Shah, is his name. Lives with a 70-year-old mother. 50-year-old man lives with a 70-year-old mother. Total loser. He's screaming at me, or one of his employees, or a woman, I should say, is screaming at me. I don't know who it is. I bring my little guy in, and I walk back through the parking lot. I open the door. I go in there where my dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, used to be. And I demand to speak to them, saying, what are you screaming at me for? All I'm doing is walk my dog. An hour later, there's 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees there. There's this vicious confrontation at my front door where this Benito Mussolini skinhead Todd Baxter is demanding my dog. I set up my front door. Todd Baxter's 2 employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. What any dog owner would say. You'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. This is a vicious confrontation. I slammed the door on the faces of these 2 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, and I went back to this dog bed my mother and father got for me. And he had a look on him that I have never seen. It really was agonizing. If you own dogs, you know what I'm talking about when your dog is different. And I looked down at him, and I picked him up, and I put him on my shoulder, and he was shaking. I thought I was going to completely lose it, and I didn't. And I was saying to him, nobody's ever going to take you from me. Psychopath cops coming to my residence to man my dog when all I'm doing is walking my dog the same way I've 7 years and 4,000 times. And I've said this to him repeatedly. If you see me on YouTube, any of these links here, when you see me on here, like when I talk to Michelle Crowley about her misconduct here, I may occasionally just talk about something that's not related to the thing in hand, but these are links here. This is February 1, so I cannot find out who's prosecuting me in silence. Perry Douglas is the deputy district attorney. I'm telling you on this YouTube. If you go to YouTube, type Perry Douglas at Monroe County District Attorney's Office, you'll see me talking to him. I'm also using the legally binding document, the Freedom of Information Law, to tell him to disclose and answer prosecutors. This is me on YouTube, Perjurer 73312, Michael C. Land Sheriff's Office. Well, I'm telling Todd Baxter, senior officer sheriff. Violence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, $75,000, Richard J. Seaman. I walk into the Pemberton Public Library. I'm being stalked and followed by this Richard J. Seaman. He runs at me, slams his arm at the side of my head. I fell down. My head hit ceramic tile. I've gone into detail about that. Violence. He's not going to fire these freaks because Todd Baxter's a freak. This Michael Land's a perjurer. I told him this on YouTube. This Richard J. Seaman is a violent fanatic. I told him this on YouTube. They're still employed at the sheriff's office. So they're going to use technology on me in this parking lot. Jason and Anthony and Monica. So when I told Steve Desmond, Broccola Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns that land, and walked back in my residence, Shannon Meyer runs to my backyard, falls down on her face, crash lands on her face. I'm taken downtown to the sheriff's office. I'm locked inside a holding cell. I can't reach the urinal. I urinated on myself. So there I am sitting in my own urine, locked inside a holding cell. For just telling a man on his track that nobody owns the land next to my residence. And that's when the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee came to me with this gruesome smile on his face. He's got his phone in his hand, and then he says to me, I want to show you something. And I'm outside, moving my arm like this, telling Steve Desmond, Broccola Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence. I looked at this freak at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I said, you got me on a camera? You got me on video? And then he put his phone back in his pocket. January 16, 2023, Todd Baxter, Sheriff 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York. This photographs why I'm a fanatic. This photographs why I'm an extremist. This photographs why I'm a liar. This photographs why I know the name is $67,000 disgusting hack Shannon Meyer. This photographs why people hate the police. Copy 2. Trinity Ross, United States Attorney for the Western District of New York. Paul C. Metz for James B. Mully Jr. Pemberton Court. Mark Phillips, Regina Harp for the Public Defender's Office. Perry Douglas of the District Attorney's Office. Michael Radler, Sheriff's Office. This is not the color photo here. That's it right there. This is color photo. I do not know if that's private technology. Belongs to this business called Consumer Insights, 2025 Penfield Road. Or if they bought it and fixed it for me, using technology upon me for a parking lot I've walked in 4,000 times. The payroll for the district attorney's office. If you see me on YouTube, if you watch any of these links, I'm constantly referring to them as freaks. I'm demanding to know from Perry Douglas, the deputy district attorney, and the district attorney herself, who are the freaks prosecuting me in total silence? And I do not know. Why was the red page, Jason, Anthony, Monica, and Jennifer? You should answer me. You know when you answer me? 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. When I email this to you, I'll probably use a mail.com account to create the contact you. Haven't done that yet. I'm going to attach some of these documentation. I'll probably attach this one right here where I'm talking to you. Again, I'll attach these links. In this YouTube I'm sending to you. I don't know what I'm going to call yet. I'm going to include this link here where it says YouTube, rent the Jason Tracy Consumer Credit Counseling Service. I'm going to call Answers at Jason Tracy, Answers at Jason Tracy again, TikTok for Jason Tracy. Over and over and over, I'm contacting you. So I'll say the question again. Why didn't you pay the rent? Did Antonino Spano, one, why didn't you pay the rent? 2, did Antonino Spano, my 80-year landlord, call you and demand the rent? 3, how do you know I'm in jail? Is there some kind of policy you don't pay the rent as a representative payee for citizens in jail? When a prosecutor talk to court? What are the answers to these questions? You have regulators. I do not yet know if it's the State Department of Health, the Department of State, Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., but I will find out. Answer me. And I believe I'm going to get total and complete silence from you. Everything is gone that I own. Every single thing I own is gone. Because of you. Representative paid and rent's not paid. You destroyed my life. This is what you did. And I don't believe there's any guilt or any remorse. I think you're just totally and completely indifferent if you watch me to this 40 minutes. So at this 40 minutes, I'm going to conclude because I could get physically ill if I'm going to be on here for much longer. Answer me. Tracy. And I believe you, Jason, will exist in stone cold silence. And you'll refuse to respond to every single question I've demanded you've answered here on this YouTube. My name is Christopher Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man my whole life.